Okay, so we're going to start within the news today, and we have a recap of the Ellsberg testimony. I basically just put this up because I feel like you guys should go out and read it because it's a article. It's a really good recap.
Joe Lauria.
And this is Consortium News. And if you scroll down, Johnny, there are three things,
Yes.
Important matters that emerged
If you click
on
the
the
first one,
issue
John.
in testimony so far with the Julian Assange trial. And one of them was it's not against the law to reveal the names of informants.
If you scroll down.
2 is Assange did not reveal informants' names first. They had already previously been revealed. And 3, not a single informant is known to have been banned by harmed by the revelation of their names. So
which is important points right here to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole framing of our Justice Department and the military-industrial complex that, what Julian Assange did was he put people who were actively working in the CIA who depend on their clearance, on their secrecy. You know what I'm saying? And he put them in harm's way, which they showed. They're trying to put that out there. The public sentiment is like, oh, look what Julian did. He put the soldiers in harm's way. But number one, they were mentioned by another outlet. He mentioned them day 2. That was June 2nd. It had already been mentioned June 1st. Number 2, none of them have ever been harmed in the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And what was the first one? Yeah. He didn't reveal them first. He didn't reveal their names, and none of them were harmed. So really, to tell you the truth, once again, their tactics of framing this against Julian, they're falling on their face every step of the way. So.
And if you go down, Johnny, below a little bit further where Ellsberg testifies, and I'm going to read a little bit of what he said. And he said, Ellsberg made an astute observation from the stand that the low-level field reports backed by Manning contained information about U.S. torture and assassination program that would have never been in such reports in Vietnam, which Ellsberg said he himself had written when he worked at the U.S. Embassy in Saigon during the war. Then during the cross-examination, Lewis pointed out Assange was not being persecuted for that collateral murder video, which Ellsberg had mentioned on direct, but instead for publishing the classified rules of engagement in Iraq. But Ellsberg said that the rules of engagement were necessary to show the evidence of war crimes in the videos. Had the government taken actions against the pilots who laugh as they kill innocent men, the American public would have accepted it. But that's not what happened. Instead, they are prosecuting the man who published the incriminating evidence. So it's a really good article. You guys should read it. It's just, it really sums up the testimonies from day 7 with Ellsberg and Goetz.
See, the whole thing is that what the prosecution doesn't have to do is they don't have to get a victory as far as like proving the fact that what Julian Assange did was illegal, because they even said it wasn't illegal what he did. You can release informants' names. You can release these videos. You can release the engagement rules of war. It's the public opinion. If they get people repeating, well, yeah, Julian put CIA people in harm's way. Well, no, he didn't. You didn't watch the case and whatnot. No. He put people in harm's way. That narrative is already set. Then they win because they're going to extradite him no matter what.
Yeah,
no matter what.
It's the fact that also he's not even an American, and the fact that they have so much power to extradite somebody like that.
Well, they're playing ball in Great Britain over there, fam. They're going along with it.
But it's really hard to watch because the defense is doing a wonderful job. Like, they have all the best witnesses. Their arguments make logical sense. But when it comes to the prosecution, they if we were to have a jury, the defense would obviously win, but it's because this judge is really in line with the prosecution that even if they are presenting a valid argument, the chance of him getting extradited is still high. And
and when he gets over here, it's done behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? It's not in the public then there. It's a grand jury.
Which people shouldn't allow that to happen at all.
That's why Chelsea refused to even testify this last time. She's like, I don't feel comfortable with doing stuff behind closed doors and not in the public's eye in a grand jury. It's bullshit. And the fact that this is America, right? And we're doing this. This is America, but yet this shit goes on all the time, every day, and it's disgusing, Let me just put that over there. Let's continue with the topic because there's some great stuff over there.
Okay,
because
so Joe Rogan. Yeah, so Joe Rogan on Assange. Let's just watch the clip. But Glenn Greenwald basically said that Joe Rogan is more like Hold on, let me just read the tweet.
Gotcha.
So he said, it seems indisputable that Joe Rogan has a greater commitment to defending press freedoms and a far better understanding of what's at stake in the Assange prosecution and extradition than the vast majority of the establishment media outlets, which is funny that he posted this recently because we were talking about TYT and not covering it, which, by the way, apparently they covered it, but I don't have the video. They covered a small segment of the Ellsberg testimony.
Looked into it?
Yeah, but that was after everybody was going hard after them. So let's just play this.
Julian Assange has literally been tortured. I mean, the guy was locked in that embassy for how many years with no exposure to daylight, just completely trapped. And you've seen videos of him skateboarding around the embassy. I mean, he looks like he's going crazy in there. And now he's in jail and on trial. The whole thing it's so disturbing because when it boils down to like what did he do that is illegal? What did he do that people disagree with, that people in the United States disagree with in terms of the citizens? Well, he exposed horrific crimes. He exposed things that were deeply that the United States citizens are deeply opposed to, and the fact that is something that you in this country can be prosecuted for, that they would try to extradite you and drag you from another country. They'd kick him out of the embassy and bring him back to the United States to try him for that. It seems like we're talking about some kangaroo court. It seems like we're talking about some dictatorship where, you have these no protection of freedom of speech, no protection under the First Amendment, no protection under the rights of the press.
Cool shirt he was wearing too.
And if Joe Rogan can get that, and a lot of people are like, oh, he's right wing, like it's just like this man is doing more for Assange than fucking TYT did with all their viewers. I mean, he didn't have to be told. He's been talking about Assange for a while, actually.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people like that. I mean, he has millions of followers and on
lot.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And then now he's on Spotify though, right?
Yeah, Spotify.
So it his message is reaching, and I think more Americans should be really up in arms and protesting outside for this, because this is a really big deal.
Yeah. It's I like kind of going on like-minded shows like that. That's what today was all about with Jason Burmis. It's kind of that Rogan feel where you're kind of just talking. Like it's just a bunch of intellectual guys at a party drinking a couple drinks. But, not that drunk stage, but that, that first drink stage, and kind of just talking about life and what's going on. And Joe always brings that realness, that Russell, was it Russell Brand, that kind of, what I'm saying? So a lot of people listen to him, and I'm glad he's talking about these things. But let's be honest, these civil liberty issues were kind of forgotten on the left for a long time. Yeah. And right now it's coming back to bite us in the ass, especially with the work you guys are doing out there. You're seeing the protesters, how they're trying to take away their First Amendment rights and trying to, we're going to get into that big time and stuff. And
they should know about Assange, because there's a connection right there that you make. Like the civil liberties and the freedom of speech and your right to protest, it's all part of the same thing. Yeah. If they can do this to Assange, and they're already doing it to protesters kind of simultaneously, it's that type of relationship where it's just gonna be like, well, we already did it to him, so guess what? And the lady getting arrested, and not just arrested, but the way she got arrested, pinned on the ground. And I mean, it's scary times for journalists. The fact that we have to go out there in gas masks and hard hats and make sure that our badge is what they want it to be, and
broken in on us when we're hanging in a van doing nothing with all, press
that the LAPD shoots at reporters in their car.
I mean, it's just, come on, I'm so sorry. And listen, I don't want to hear the crybabies that talk about, well, we have to stop this because of the looting and the rioting. No, bullshit. You cannot take away somebody's First Amendment rights. The protesters are out there to peacefully protest, should not be taking flack for what one individual does. And that's what they're doing. And they're conflating this whole issue and making it look like, well, they have no choice. It's bullshit. Our First Amendment right has to work for all sides. Even if people aren't paying attention to certain things, they still deserve the same protections. And yes, I hope to God that people do understand and learn more about Assange, and I'm glad we're doing that. Even doing that to the Trumpers, going, hey, man, WikiLeaks gave you the friggin' election. Now you're going to sit there and they're going to abandon Julian Assange when he fucking helped you guys out? Dick Medhurst put up, my man, Today in court, we received information that Trump did offer a Assange deal. No extradition if you give up the source of the DNC leaks. We talked about this. Assange sacrificed his freedom and refused to do the very thing the prosecution is falsely accusing him of, endangering sources. Okay? Now and once again, I struggle with this. This is the whole Rand Paul, Dana Rohrabacher thing. It's so funny that we did the debate with the guy who replaced Dana Rohrabacher. But Dana Rohrabacher and Rand Paul went to Assange and said, listen, Trump's going to make a deal with you right now. We're not going to extradite you. Just give up your source. That's it. He refuses to do that because he won't even give up his sources. He did say that it was not Russia. It wasn't a state-sponsored thing and stuff like that. But I still struggle with this. And, I know the fact they're going to bring him over here and they're going to hold his feet to the fire unless he gives up that source. And I understand you're not supposed to give up your sources, but I still think it would be better for the country.
It would be
bad in some ways. I don't know.
It would be horrible because that means that he would be going against everything journalism stands for. So I can understand why he's not going to do it. I think
he's got to protect his source, but if his source is Seth Green.
You mean Seth Rich?
Seth Rich, sorry.
Seth Green is the actor.
It's a trick. It's a trick.
Yeah, I think it's a trick. I don't think they're gonna. Every time the police
try to, you did it, and then
I know
that's what Richard's saying here. It's a trick.
No. Listen. I understand what Julian Assange is doing it to, but this whole RussiaGate narrative that the Democrats have built their whole ideology upon. You know what I'm saying? They even in Congress, the way they vote, it's always about anti-Russia, whatnot. So I mean, I would just love to crush that more than anything, but I understand why he's not giving it up and whatnot. So, I mean, Julian Assange. But there was a deal there. It was there, and he did not take the deal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, good for him. I wouldn't have taken the deal either.
So we need people to really get on this thing. We need people to wake up and really call and say, listen, free Assange. I mean, the reason why no Democratic senator or congressperson in the House will do anything is because he exposed them. And I really wish he was there to expose them again, but he exposed them, and the Democrats had to admit that they can go in the back room and cheat.
Yeah.
But still, you know what I'm saying? So.